Hello? 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 Alright, what up? We got the right mic. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? How's it going? Let me just inform the masses that we have gone live. And then we'll get into it. So we have Cool Umbrellas, usually weekly tournament, Friday night fights. It's a mix of try hard and casual. It's not like people here are going to be fucking trolling, but it's also not like, you know, the World Cup. It's best of one until the finals is best of three. So it tends to be a little quicker, rather rapid, one might say. Do have 9 players tonight. Actually, a pretty all-star cast. Gentle Rat's quite solid. John FB's pretty darn good. Cool Umbrella's quite good. Floof, Sabrus, Blood Penguin, myself are all pretty good. Dr. Nerd is really the only newer player I see here. Spooky for him. Spooky. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have to fight Dr. Blood Penguin. The scariest man of them all. He so far has not responded. What up, Scaro Khan, Mr. Casual? How's it going? I haven't played in like 2 weeks, so I'm going to be rusty as hell. I think I'm going out round 1. We'll give it a good show, but I think I'm going out round 1. I think It's Current Year said he was streaming too, so there's a lot of streaming going around. There he is. It's the boy. Anyway, yeah, let's get this shit going. Let's kick some ass. Got a vodka lemonade here, so it's gonna be a good stream. All right. Probably going to play Skaven. I haven't played in 2 weeks. I'm itching for some rat action. Unless he bans it. The format is pick 3, ban 3. So he could ban Muscovinos. And I know he doesn't particularly like fighting the rats, so it would be shocking if he banned them. You'll win this, Intoyevich? Hell yeah, brother. If your computer doesn't completely blow up, don't let it blow up. Penguin, where are you? Screw it. If he hasn't answered, then he probably doesn't have a lobby up, so I'll just host one. What map am I supposed to be going to here? The tourney grounds? That's a little on brand. You need some Norska gameplay? I am the wrong fucking guy to ask for that. I'm a pretty bad Norscan player. You might get some out of Penguin, though. He's pretty good at Norska, Bretonia, Empire, Khorne, Kislev. Alright, map set. What does it look like? Oh god, it's a lot of trees! Fuck, man! I can't see in the trees! What up, Sam Goodwin? How you doing? Busy month? I feel you, Mr. Casual. It's been brutal. It's been brutal. We got a lot of shit going on. We got a 45-minute video ranting about Malice Darkblade. A comment for everyone's favorite vice presidential hip-hop record. I'm still... Will, I don't understand that comment. I still don't get it. Thanks for the welcome back. Thanks. We're about to get our shit kicked in as we show how rusty we've become in the 2 weeks we've been gone. I don't know where Penguin is. And frankly, I'm alarmed and concerned. Algorithms? Ha! Ha! Ha ha! I like that. That is really good. Alright, he's here. Map set, you are up. I think Blood Penguin's probably going to win the whole tournament, but if I somehow knock him out round one, Cool Umbrella will probably win. I don't know. I have no faith in the out-of-shape hummus. What elves build? We'll see what he bans. Alright, before we deal with what people want to see, we'll see what he bans. Because if he bans stuff that I can't make any promises. And if he doesn't ban the Skaven, I'm going with the goddamn Skaven. Floof, you better win. You better win your round one. Huvis will win for LS. LS doesn't exist. You're just well rested. Not gonna lie, sometimes that's true. Like there was that time where I was playing too much. I was getting mega tilted and I was playing bad. And then I took a week off and then I started playing great. I think 2 weeks off might be too much, but strategic time off if you're just burnt out and playing poorly, then yeah, that's a great thing. He gets to ban 3, he only banned 1. He picked Norska, Greenskins, and Kislev. When did he pick up Greenskins? You're looking forward to the Human Voice rap album debut on Sunday? I'm not sure if you want me to rap. Doesn't seem like my thing. Norska, Greenskins, and Kislev. Ban Ogre Kingdoms, VC, and Zinch? Not Skaven? I feel insulted. Norska, Greenskins, Kislev. He wanted to say Skaven, he didn't want to target me down. Fair. Yeah, Penguin on Greenskin's a weird shout out for me too. We could do some Wood Elves. Someone wanted Wood Elves. Wood Elves ban Kislev. And then if he goes Norska, then we get 2 of what chat wanted. Alright. So if he goes Norska, then everything is right in the world. Plague Penguin is a noob compared to a human champion? Oh, that is... that is bold. Blood Penguin is a much better player than me. He went Greenskins! What is this? What faction is most closely related to the U.S. Army according to culture and actual battle history? Oh, God. Probably the High Elves. Yeah, probably the High Elves. Well, old High Elves, not new High Elves. Pre the Sundering High Elves was pretty close. Where they were just like dominant beyond all repair and kind of got in everybody's politics and shit. And if you didn't like it, then they would come do something about it. Yeah, that's about it. I would say Empire, but they're too splintered. Like, they don't really know what's going on. Dark Elves seem pretty American. Yeah, but they go with, like, Corsair raiding a lot, which the U.S. has, like, never done. Like, that's more of a Viking thing. Do High Elves use oil? No. An actual battle history? Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for just, like, playing most, like, the American army, then you just need gunpowder, and that already significantly limits you to Empire and Dwarves and Cathay. Ooh, actually, well, Cathay is very insular, and the United States is not. So that's tricky. Otherwise, I would say Cathay is a really good shout out. I'd say there's elements of Cathay. All right, everybody shush. I gotta actually, like, do the thing. I gotta do the thing. What is this guy's deal? I could. I could. I shouldn't, but I am. All right, what do you have? Good lord, you're expensive, my friend. Bellicorn and Arcanine models are worth it? Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Okay, sorry. I'm thinking, but I'll get there someday. Alright, so we have that. We're fighting greenskins, for God's sakes. Which, if there was ever an easy faction to utterly destroy, it's the greenskins. They just suck. Like, they're just absolutely no good. And I think that's pretty safe to say, and nothing will come back to haunt me about that statement at all. Okay, so I have those two, I have that, I have that, I have those, I have these. I am missing some pretty significant things. But I don't know what I can do about that. Like, my cavalry is dog shit. Utter dog shit. But I guess that's just fine, I guess. Why are you so expensive? Why are you so expensive? Blade Guard with Starfire shafts are so expensive. I can afford way more shit without the... With just taking regular Blade Guard, I can afford so much more stuff. What the hell? Oh, they're 150 gold more expensive than their counterparts. I guess it's for the armor piercing, but greenskins don't have a ton of armor, do they? It's not really a big deal. But then what else do I do with this money? What else is such an awkward amount of money, man? Whatever. Good enough. Good enough. He's waited on me for too long. We have Orion. King of the Wild Hunt. Let's go Woody time. Yeah, I don't know what Lord he's going to take. I was going to take a generic Mage Lord, but then I saw Orion, and I know some people in my Discord have been playing Orion a lot recently. And while I don't think he's particularly great, this is a matchup where he could actually do okay. He causes terror, he's unbreakable, he could do a lot of damage, he can, like, withstand Spirit Leeches and stuff, because if he ever gets low, he starts healing. I don't know. Like, there's some things about him that could be good. He could be trash, but that's fine. Does Orion have layers? No, he's not a fucking onion. Or an ogre. Ogres have layers. Is the bonus accuracy from ranks worth it for archers? In my experience, no. I haven't really had an issue with archers missing their targets, because most archers are so close range, like relatively close range, that they're really not going to miss that much. Mostly artillery is the only thing that benefits from the accuracy of chevrons, because they're just actually far enough away that missing is feasible. Even Skaven Rattling guns, like if you triple gold chevron them, they're marginally more accurate, but even the triple gold chevron are so inaccurate that it's not worth it. Like, Ratlings just function as a shotgun type unit anyway, where stuff has to be, like, within half their range, and then they'll nuke it. And if it's at max range, you're just not going to hit it. Max ranks or otherwise. Alrighty. So, that balance of power is not a fan. Balance of power is already doing us dirty. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we got Orion, King of the Wild Hunt. Do have a Branch Wraith with Melkoths and Earthblood for some support. I have the Hawkeyes of Drakira for, I mean, just good armor-piercing shots, but also the Discouraged thing can be pretty good. I do have one Starfire Shaft Glade Guard and a Hagbane Tips Glade Guard just because I had some extra money. For them, do have 4 Glade Riders. We have the Wild Hunters of Kuronos to try and hold back Spider Riders and such, and then we have a front line of Dryads. Because they cause fear, and they have some physical resist, which will help. But I don't expect my front line to beat the Greenskins' front line. It's just not a thing that's really going to happen. So hopefully they hold for a bit. If they don't, then they don't. Okay, you guys have Fire at Will off. You guys have Fire at Will on. And then you two, and then you two. Lastly, you and you guys. Cool. All right, let's see what he does. Let's see what he brings. Never take Chaos Dwarves into Ogres. Fair enough, Golden Floof. Fair enough. Yeah, Floof, we've been a little delayed by being, you know, fucking degens. Also, Blood Penguin's taking a sweet time. And I blame him for everything, not myself. Alright. We're gonna click things fast. We are not going to make this easy for him. If we go out, it will be with a Mel Gibson roar and trumpets blaring. We will not go quietly into this night, because today is our Independence Day! Now go kill some aliens! Will Smith will be signing autographs later. I have a message. Is it from Penguin? Alright, it is. Let's go. Okay, it's a bunch of Spider Riders, Goblins, Stone Trolls, Squigs. Pretty usual stuff. We have Skarsnik, and I don't see a caster, so it actually might be a Goblin caster, because they have stock until you get close enough. Or it's a River Troll Hag in the woods. I would assume a River Troll Hag in the woods, because that seems way smarter. There she is. With Fate of Buna and Aspect of the Dread Knight, which is a good thing I didn't bring, you know. You know what I shouldn't have brought. ROR Knights. I like not being able to see. That is one of actually my favorite things. Grace is breaking shit. Orion! Go! Okay, we get it. You guys are super cool. Kill those Spider Riders, please. Okay. Orion does need to keep moving forward. I'm going to throw a heal over here to get some of my front line to stay alive a little bit. Turn Fire at Will on for a hot second. Smoke bomb those guys so that the Wild Hunters of Kuronos can catch up to them a little bit. Boar Boys are coming in hot. Orion is stuck in the front line doing literally nothing, which is pretty super fucking cool. Alright. Cool. Archers are pretty compromised, which is real bad. Orion is shitting his collective pants, doing absolutely nothing of import, and that makes me very sad. You guys turn Fire at Will back on, just in case you can get some pot shots off while running away. Our cavalry has lost to the Greenskin cavalry rather convincingly. Throw another heal out, Melkoth's that, but yeah, we just got largely overrun. God damn, son, what else suck? Yeah, things are not going well. Okay. Y'all keep falling back. A was popped. It's only going worse for us as you come over here and save me from this. And Orion is still trying to get anything done.
We are tireless. Weight Watchers, dauntless Azrael.
Now the question remains. Do Wood Elves suck or are Greenskins overpowered? The world may never know. Oh wait, we do know. Oh shit.
Release! Azrael, attack! Now!
Wherever these guys are, they can come back. Orion's still just chilling. He's doing his best. Trying to fight stone trolls, which like more power to him. Though I do think we are mega doomed. God damn. Yeah, and these Weight Watchers just didn't do anything. I was trying to get them to fire all game. I can't tell if they weren't firing or if they just don't deal the DPS, but they didn't do anything. Jesus. I messaged Flipping and I'm like, hey, what else might suck? They just didn't do any damage, man. They didn't do anything. What the hell? Hawkeyes with Jakiro were the biggest disappointment. They did literally nothing. I want to see what they even shot at. Maybe some more spears? Maybe. Dryads usually hold longer than spears, though, because of the physical resist and the fear. I just want to see what the Hawkeyes shot, because they just didn't do anything. Okay. So Hawkeyes, what did you shoot, and how much damage did you not do? So they don't have fire at will on, because I didn't want them to waste ammo. And then I gave them an order to shoot at the Broken Tusk mob. Full volley. Wow, man! Those guys aren't even shielded! What the fuck? You have armor-piercing shots, you do no damage! Hawkeyes of Jakiro, that was the saddest shit! And now you're obstructed? Because your cavalry's fighting other cavalry, you can't fight her up and over? Okay, now they kind of are, but wow, dude. Y'all look pathetic. You're a 1,500 gold armor-piercing archer. Why do you do 0 damage? Jesus. That made me depressed. They're so fucking bad, man. Holy shit. That is so funny, man. Maybe you're a lot Ariel for some crowd clear and terror. She could be. I didn't really want to like hero hammer heal blob in a more fun tournament. That just doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, it could if I wanted to win, but not if I wanted to have fun. Not if I wanted to save my soul. The reload time is 3.3 seconds longer than game 2. I know like all archers took a reload cost nerf, which is pretty brutal. But it's alright. The stream is not over. We will spectate some glorious games. Do not fret. Do not fear. There's still more fun to come. So while we figure out what we will be spectating next, the Gentle Rat has prevailed over John FB. Cool Umbrella did prevail over Dr. Nerd. Saber Ragdom beat Golden Floof, and Blood Penguin has defeated myself. If he hasn't entered the scores yet, then I will. So we have our first semifinal. I will hop over there and spectate. . Alrighty. And then I'll tell Cool Umbrella, wait faux stream, please, when you get opponent. Alright, so we'll have Saber Strike versus Blood Penguin. Told Cool Umbrella to wait for stream when he gets his opponent. Cast both semifinals, cast a best of 3 finals, and then get you all on your way. .32 seconds? Okay, that's not that bad, but still, it's not great. Orion was tanky. He was okay. I was pretty sad that he dove straight into melee and then got stuck and like couldn't move for quite a while. That made me pretty sad. But like his tankiness was fine. He did a decent amount of like damage while he was in melee. He did okay. He wasn't objectively terrible. I think a generic Caster Lord would have been a better choice, but I wanted to go with Orion because you know what? Fuck it. Send it. I focused a lot on the Hawkeyes, but I think what made me most sad was the Wood Elf Cavalry. Because they just got overrun really hard. Like, one Fate of Una took out my only good cavalry piece, and then my Glade Riders of Spears just, like, sat with Spider Riders for a long time, and when a Wa was popped, they ended up losing it, and it's like, alright, cool. So I couldn't defend my back line at all, and my front line was losing too. So it's like, alright, your front line lost, your mobility lost, which made time for your archers to do what? And they fired some volleys, didn't do very much damage, and then we lost. So it was like, oh, rip in peace. Now I don't know if the buffs that you would want would be make the archers do a lot more damage, or make you can make the archers do a lot more damage, or you can make the other stuff better. I don't know which would be good, but something needs to happen. Because the Wood Elves either need more time to shoot the shitty arrows, or they need way better arrows to make the short time they have worth it. Alright, we're here. Looks like we have Dark Elves v Norska. Should have used Kislev. Kislev's okay. They need some help of their own, but Kislev's okay. Straight into the game. Dark Elves versus Norska. Harganeth Executioners, Witch Elves versus Skinwolves and Marauder Champions. And Marauder Berserkers. Okay. Should have used Kislev. True. But we had fun. And sometimes having fun is a good thing. Playing some Wood Elves, playing Orion, having a grand old scrap. What up, Knighthood? 1001 airstrikes, hello? Hello. Yeah, I don't know what should be done about the Wood Elves. They definitely feel way too expensive right now, but I don't know if they should become just like a cheap faction, right? Because if you give them cost reductions, but all their stuff still sucks, then they become like a weird horde faction, which is just not their identity. You don't want to go full game 2, though, where like they had one of the best front lines in the entire game with Dryads, because Dryads used to be kind of insane for their price point, and it's like, oh, well, that also seems weird. This faction has the best front line when they're meant to be like the more hit and run style guys. So I think you probably just need to buff their cavalry and archers. Leave their front line being relatively shitty, except for war dancers, but then you're paying more money, right? But make their cav good, make their archers good, keep them expensive, keep their front line pretty bad. Would probably be the way to go on their lords. Because I'm trying to think back to game 2, because game 2, the Wood Elves are pretty toxic. They were just not really fun to interact with. They were quite strong, but also their playstyle was just annoying. So I don't want to go back to those days, but I do think a lot of those days was reliant on like them also having an insane front line with the Dryads. Where I feel like if they were just cavalry and archers that were good and the front line was dog shit, maybe the dark days wouldn't return. Maybe. I don't know. Imagine healing gets nerfed, which it fucking won't, because the healing's always been way too strong. But imagine healing gets nerfed and Wood Elves don't get a buff and they just get kicked even harder. Because, like, when they do win games, they rely pretty heavily on the Lore of Life. And it's just like, CA nerfs Regrowth and Earthblood and all the healing spells, and the Wood Elves are like, bro, the fuck? And they just die. What up, Kamul? Hackers and traders, yeah. What up, Umbrella? How you doing? How you doing? Okie dokie. So for the Dark Elves of Saber's Regnum, we have 4 Dark Riders in the Vanguard. We have a mix of Witch Elves and Black Ark Corsairs, including the Singing Doom ROR. Triple Hargoneth Executioner. We have a Supreme Sorceress of Dark with Soul Stealer on her dragon. So it's pretty much Malekith, but significantly cheaper, although a little less tanky. On the other side, for Blood Penguin and Norsca, it is the dogs. Not as many dogs as we're seeing, but still quite a few. 3 Skin Wolves, 2 Norscan Ice Wolves with their Frostbite that makes them really good at chasing down stuff. We have quadruple Berserkers, 2 Marauder Champions holding down the front line, 2 Marauder Hunters with Javelins as well. And then Wulfric the Wanderer. It looks like it is Horseric with Fight or Die, Hunter of Champions, and Seafang. And then a Shaman Sorcerer of Metal with Plague of Rust and Searing Doom. Seafang, even in its nerfed state, will be pretty good against the Hargoneth Executioners just due to their tight formation and not amazingly high HP pool. Even though it lacks a little bit in the armor piercing department, it'll still do pretty well against those guys. So Saber, so have to be careful before moving up. It's funny to see Wulfric on the defense on his own quest battle map. True. Do Wood Elves get wild magic? If not, they should. No, they don't. That's a Beastmen specific magic, I think. Dwarf mains rejoice. Why? What happened? Alright, Marauder Champions trying to crest the hill so they don't get a downhill charge against them, and they will. Marauder Champions should be able to beat up the Black Ark Corsairs. I am curious how Berserkers versus Witch Elves goes. It's not actually a matchup I'm super familiar with, so I can definitively say one way or the other how it goes. It apparently goes quickly. Don't know who's gonna win yet, but it's happening like instantaneously in front of your eyes. They're just dead. Like, both sides are fucking dead. That's awesome. Anyway, Norscan Ice Wolves and Skin Wolves proving their prowess versus these Dark Riders, absolutely slaughtering them. And if they want to opt out of this fight, they now have a very middling 64 speed. Still get super run down by these dogs. And that is largely what has made Norsca so powerful this last couple patches. Is like, I know Strat Game was the first one that really pulled it out for me. Maybe other people discovered it too, but like, discovering the Ice Wolves in supporting your Skin Wolves on the flanks just made them all of a sudden have a mobile presence they didn't used to have, and it really brought them back in the meta. As for the front line, Witch Elves and Berserkers are just across the board are like dead. They're just already dead, so we're not even talking about them. It's pretty much 2 Marauder Champions versus the Hargoneth Executioners at this point. Hunter of Champions is out, and I imagine that means Wulfric will be running up soon. And a Plague of Rust is onto her. She has 0 armor right now, and Wulfric's just trying to keep her on the ground so that these javelins can continue throwing at her. She does do a charge attack into his infantry, but that does not get her off the ground just yet. Wulfric is still on her ass. Those javelins are still hitting her, but a quick Soul Stealer will do some nice damage while also healing her up. Wulfric needs to use a Seafang to bail himself out of that bad situation. In the back, 3 out of the 4 Dark Riders are already dead and or running. 1 Dark Rider has leapt to the backfield. They are going to shut down these Marauder Hunters with Javelins, and with Hargoneth Executioners coming on the other side, I think those Marauder Hunters are mega doomed. Black Ark Corsairs and Witch Elves almost dead, but technically victorious in this frontline fight. Ooh, for now, though, it looks like these are Marauder Champions. They're actually just chilling. They just got rampaged a little bit. They ain't dead. And Supreme Sorceress Dark took some decent damage. She got away from the trap set for her, but decent damage. So the Dark Elves are slowly winning the frontline fight. That is true. That is the big true. I think their triple Hargoneth Executioners are still pretty healthy. They are. For Norsca, they have a healthy Lord and Caster. Still a little bit of range tools and a lot of mobility left that they are now trying to leverage into a real advantage. Skin Wolves and Ice Wolves coming in from the flanks. Wulfric is back onto the Supreme Sorceress Dark, who is getting a little overeager. She probably has a second Soul Stealer by now, but still, you just generally know you have to kill an entire Dark Elf Dragon Lord a time and a half to get rid of their healing cap, so really any damage is good damage because you're just not going to burst them out. They're always going to hit that heal cap. Skinwolves and Ice Wolves trying to clean up the remnants. Norska not entirely sure what it's going to do about the Harganeth Executioners, but it looks like the strategy for now is just ignore them. Wulfric is barely outside the Soul Stealer, and he will avoid it, which is nice. Pretty solid, and a breath attack from the distance. Dark Elf caster gets a little bit of poke onto the Skinwolves. It's enough to cause them to rampage, so they are rampaging after the unit that they were chasing anyway, which will get them to safety, and the rampage instantly wears off. Harganeth Executioners bodied the shit out of a Shaman Sorcerer who was standing, unfortunately, in them. The Terror Route has worn off. He needs to get out of here, but it does not look like he can. He is just instantly taken down yet again. And if Wulfric doesn't do something soon, he will not have a caster at all. Skinwolves get a downhill charge, doing a ton of damage to the Harganeth Executioners and really trying to save this Shaman. More Skinwolves coming over. Blood Penguin realizing that he really, really needs to bail out that Shaman. And Norska is getting a bit of a second wind. Skinwolves are still regenerating up. And the Dark Elves aren't looking so hot. Harganeth Executioners are really not known for their tenacity in a fight. They just, like, despite their armor and pretty solid stats, they just tend to not last very long in a bump and grind, and a brutal Seafang is really ripping them apart. Dark Elf caster is landing. She probably has another Soul Stealer, though she has already cast 2 and still not looking hot. Another Hunter of Champions, and Wulfric is on top of her. If he pops, he pops Fight or Die, he's gonna whoop her ass. And she's surrounded by Skinwolves. Now, she does have Harganeth Executioners, so it's not like a full surround by Skinwolves, but she has to be way more careful than she is being. Meanwhile, the Shaman Sorcerer Medal is slipping away. I think Blood Penguin and the Norskins are gonna take a victory on this one. It was a good hard fight from the Dark Elves, and all is not over yet. I'm just assuming that the Supreme Sorceress of Dark will not get out of here. You can see how much she's struggling and how much damage she's taking. The leadership is dipping, and I haven't seen a Soul Steal yet, so if she doesn't get out in the next 5 seconds, she's 100% doomed. Maybe if you get a Soul Stealer off, you can get a Mass Terror out, buy yourself some space, get back up into the sky. And maybe from there you can try to carry the game, but there's just not a lot left for her. There is the Soul Stealer that we needed. Plague of Rust quick from the Shaman Sorcerer is going to lower her armor, helping these Skinwolves without their armor piercing to do a little bit more damage there. Soul Stealer hits stuff that's not inside the circle because the circle is bugged as fuck, and we all know that. And she is going to try and heal up. A Searing Doom doing a little bit of friendly fire. Her leadership goes down to 0. Now it's back up to 5, but she does have to get out of here and get back up into the sky. A Terror Route's coming through, and Wulfric is really the last guy still in here. And with the Harganeth Executioners and the Sisters of Singing Doom, this could turn on Wulfric very quickly. He's down to sub-half health in the blink of an eye. The Supreme Sorcerer's Dark is still fighting. The Harganeth Executioners are in here doing a lot of work too, and Wulfric has to be a little careful. He can't get over-eager about this fight. Things were looking good. Things still are looking okay, but if he gets sniped out, it is 100% over. But the more Skinwolves rejoining the fight, that Plague of Rust still affecting the Supreme Sorcerer's Dark. She's just dipping too low on HP. She will rout, and with her army losses will hit. But that got scary for a second there. That got a little spooky for you old Norskins. The Harganeth Executioners doing their best, but their best is not nearly good enough. Naked Women with Knives versus Bonk Naked Man. A naked pile of bodies in second. Alright. Dark Elf Caster did fine. Harganeth Executioners honestly got pretty okay value. Despite how negative I am on them, they did fine here. Blackheart Crusaders and Witch Elves also did well. Dark Riders got completely shut down by the Norskin mobility. And other than that, it was a close game, so it makes a lot of sense. Wulfric did fine. Shaman Sorcerer Medal did okay. Not amazing, not bad. Skinwolves did very nicely. Berserkers and Marauder Champions did all right. The Jab Throwers mixed, but you could see which one got to throw at the Dark Elf caster while she was under that Plague of Rust. Remember when she had 0 armor? That was these guys getting that value in. And then the Norskin Ice Wolves did pretty well. So overall, nice close game for both sides, but Norska being able to scrap it out with the mobility advantage and healing, and the Dark Elves. Harganeth Executioners couldn't quite kill everything. Alrighty. Is Cool Umbrella ready? Yes, in a way. I don't know if they actually have a lobby up, but if we go over to the bracket, Gentle Rat has prevailed over its current year, and he will now battle Cool Umbrella. And Blood Penguin awaits in finals. I don't see Nurgle's Hot Yoga Studio, so I don't think Cool Umbrella has a lobby up just yet. Alright, I'll go check the BBB chat and see if they got anything. Lobby is Rat Nest. Oh, okay. So it's this one. Alright, I'm here. We have a lobby with Spec Dot, Rat's Nest. Cool Umbrella, I'm already here. I figured that out on my own. I saw what he told Current Year, and I saw that that lobby was still up, and I saw that it was full, and I assumed. So what will we get here today? The Gentle Rat was in a couple new player tournaments many months ago, like 5 or 6 months ago. And then he like kind of disappeared for a while. Then he comes back, and whenever he comes back, he is a very solid player. I like him a lot. I think like Cool Umbrella and Blood Penguin are probably better, you know? So I'm not trying to say he's the best player ever, but for a face that we don't frequently see on the channel, he's quite solid. Used to play a good amount of Skaven, played some Empire, but I don't know what he's been up to these days. I see him on the Vermin League ladder. He has been playing a couple more games recently, so it looks like he is back in action a bit. Curious to see what he brings. Cool Umbrella, well known. I mean, he is the host of this tournament, but also long-standing member of BBB, plays a shit ton of Nurgle, Greenskins. After those two, it's a little more hit or miss on what he plays. Like, he'll play some Skaven here and there, play some Beastmen here and there, Ogres, shit like that. But, like, Nurgle and Greenskins are the main two I usually see him rocking. You guys want me to play Tomb Kings, Lizardmen, or Dark Elves? I'll let you all answer that. Any Beastmen today? Not yet, Torox. Not yet. But to be fair, Beastmen stinky. Beastmen stinky. Everybody do the dinosaur. He went Ogre King against Greenskins and Nurgle against you. That sounds like a cool Umbrella draft. After the stream, I have to edit some videos and answer some emails, and I don't want to fucking do that. So let's hope this stream goes on forever. Don't make me do stuff. I'm always doing stuff. I'm so tired of doing things. I have a bunch of wedding emails to answer for Grace and I. The we pretty much decide on a caterer. I have to sit down with her and make sure she likes it, because I'm like, they served food and we didn't die, so check, but I gotta make sure it's fine. Gotta get the bar service all set up, shit like that. And then I have some emails from the board game convention I gotta deal with. It'll be Lizardmen versus Tzeentch or Empire. Okay. Umbrella's informed me of the picks and bans. So it's Tzeentch or Empire for Gentle Rat. I mean, if I had the choice, I would go Empire, but Tzeentch, like, can do it. It's just tough versus Lizards, in my opinion. I don't know. Empire seems much more doable. Lizards don't have a great time with the War Wagons. So if you want to just be a sweaty tryhard War Wagons are solid. But even without War Wagons, Empire Knights are pretty good versus most Lizardmen cavalry. Huntsmen are really good in this matchup. State troops do fine. I mean, you have some good lord choices too. So, like, even without War Wagons, it's a plenty doable matchup for the Empire. It's not easy, but it's doable. I'd say it's Empire favored a little bit. But he is going Tzeentch. He beat my Lizards with Tzeentch current year? Oh, shit. There it is. Well, this is a weird build. I wonder if this is the build he took into you current year, because if he locks it in, I have some thoughts. It's very strange. But you did go foot to Henoan? That sounds like you. Well, he hasn't changed his build in a little bit here. You'd think losing their scales for feathers and hollow bones would be downgrade evolutionaries, but that's for you. I was kind of in a mood today to just listen to people rant about shows that I never intend on watching. There are certain shows that I know I'm not going to watch, so I'll listen to a certain number of YouTube personalities that I enjoy to kind of like get the synopsis without watching it, but also get their funny commentary. And even if they hate a show I like, I usually respect their opinions enough and just think their jokes are funny enough that I can ignore that they're like shitting on something I like. Anyway, I was listening to one of those guys talk about the 6th Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World Dominion or whatever, and that movie is utter garbage, and it was just really funny to listen to him tearing them. Though honestly, he didn't go as hard onto certain parts as I thought he would, and I was a little disappointed on that. Because, like, if you've seen Jurassic World Dominion, big dinosaurs go burr, sure. But there's this they're like, we made the biggest fucking dinosaur you've ever did on see. It's so goddamn big. It's the Gigantosaurus. And then in the movie, it's like a slightly bigger T-Rex than the T-Rex. But it's super slow and doesn't seem to give a single shit about what's going on. Like, it shows up and like all 8 of the main humans are standing in front of it. They're like, oh no. And then it just kind of walks towards them and they run away and it keeps walking. It like doesn't even break into a jog. And then they climb a ladder in front of it and it just watches them climb the ladder. And then they run around this little building and it kind of watches them. And when the last person is about to get in the door, it decides, you know what? I'll try a little bit. It leans forward, bites the railing, he gets away, and it's like, well, whatever, and leaves. It was like, I don't know that thing was trying to kill you. It didn't seem to give a shit. It was so good, man. But yeah, when he covered that part, he was like talking about, I don't know, that they were like waving a torch at it and that it was like a moth and anybody that had light would distract it. But I don't know. I was just like, I'm kind of surprised he didn't touch on the fact that it didn't seem to want to be there. The Critical Drinker and Dark Corners for horror stuff are pretty entertaining but informative for that kind of synopsis. Nice. Yeah, I didn't watch The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I have like a Star Wars fanatic channel that I listen to, so I got the synopsis from there, and I'm pretty fine with not watching them. I've heard some people like The Mandalorian, some people don't, but it doesn't. From what I heard from the synopsis, I'm like, okay, I get the major plot points, but I feel like enough of this isn't for me that I just shouldn't watch it. I don't know. I'm like kind of burnt out on Star Wars in general. Even well done Star Wars, I just need a break. Like, there's too many. There's too many games. There's too many movies. There's too many shows. And it's like, even when they're done well, I need a break from Space Wizards. I just do. That's okay. For the Tzeentch build, the part that I found interesting is that he has 2 casters. He does have the Skull of Katam and Final Transmutation on Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch of Metal Hero. And then he still has Kairos Fateweaver, the OG with Regrowth, Blue Fire of Tzeentch, Scroll of Destiny, Gaze of Fate, and Oracle of Eternity. Interesting. 2 Chaos Knights of Tzeentch with Lances, 2 Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch with Halberds, 4 Blue Horrors, and 5 Marauders. On the other side, for the Lizardmen, we have Skink Spam! For 45 years, the Lizardmen have been out, and for 45 years, it has been Skink Spam. Saurus have never been meta. 4 Skink cohorts, 4 other Skink cohorts with Javelins. We have a Red-Crested Skink ROR. We have the ROR Legion of Chakwa for their missile resistance aura they can pop. The Shredder of Velustria Dreadsaurian ROR. Mazdamundi with his crowd clearing spells and Apotheosis for some healing. And we have a Bastildon for even more healing. First 2 seasons of Mando was decent, not really a Star Wars guy, but after that it went downhill. I see. Kairos is just straight up landing on this Bastildon, trying to get a bit of damage out. And damage he shall get. I mean, he has armor-piercing damage for the large part. Frontline should go to Tzeentch with Chaos Knights cycle charging and no mobility presence whatsoever from the Lizardmen, plus a better frontline in Marauders and Chaos Warriors with Blue Horror support. The frontline infantry fight should go pretty heavily to Tzeentch. Now the big problem is going to be the obvious problem, and that is giant fucking monsters with a crap ton of healing. Mazdamundi, the Shredder of Lustria, the Revivification Crystal, these are going to be problems. Gaze of Fate has locked down the Bastildon, and while some Chaos Knights and Kairos are attempting to deal damage to it, the Legion of Chakra are going to come back and just say a hard nope to that, and an Apotheosis also undermines their greatest efforts. Skinks are running forward, Skinks are dying, Tzeentch is behind on the damage value as the Shredder of Lustria goes absolutely nuts in the backfield. The Blue Horrors are running out of ammo though, so they will swiftly become melee infantry in no time. Kairos and his Knights attempting to do damage, but healing goes burr, and they have done nothing with their time. I am already concerned for the poor forces of Tzeentch. They're clearing out all the Skinks, but I just do not see what is going to kill these single entities unless they end up sitting in Halberds, which Mazdamundi can Ruination of Cities and Banishment his way out of. Which, looking around, I don't know if he's used a Ruination yet, but one like right here would be pretty solid. It hits some Knights, hits some Marauders, hits some Chaos Warriors and Halberds. It'd be pretty good. And the Shredder of Lustria's minus leadership and terror aura things is already making his Chaos Warriors terror out, and they were at like half health a second ago. Tzeentch is pulling ahead on the balance of power. I think the balance of power is being a little over-eager, though Final Transmutation caster should walk over here and get a fat Final Transmutation on all 3 of those dinosaurs. That would be pretty cool. Most of their infantry support is leaving, besides the Legion of Chakwa. On the other side, we do have some Skinks barely holding on, but with Knights charging in and Blue Horrors and Marauders continuing to do battle, I don't think they will last that long. I heard the Ruination of City sound effect. I didn't honestly see it go through anything. Meanwhile, Blue Horrors are fading away, Chaos Warriors are still routing. And yeah, balance power now goes back to the middle, maybe even slight Lizard favored as Kairos is going to land on the Rev Crystal, get a little bit more damage out there. And a Final Transmutation on the Rev Crystal plus Mazdamundi is going to be pretty sick, but a counter banishment onto the clustered up Halberd's going to be brutal. At least it is an overcast Final Transmutation, getting some decent damage out there. But these Halberds getting nuked down by Mazda is just fucking brutal. The healing continues. Now, we have talked about it a lot on this stream recently, but it is important when you're fighting a healing faction. You need to focus down one target, kill it entirely, and then start on another one. And it looks like that is what largely the Gentle Rat's trying to do. He's trying to kill off the Rev Crystal, then he'll move on to Mazdamundi, then he'll deal with the Shredder last, and that is smart. If you spread out your damage, they will all just get healed. Chaos Knights of Tzeentch are getting a regrowth as they take a ton of damage. They still have a good amount of their models left, though, so the healing is going to be rather effective. Kairos is still full HP, though. He's going to want to be careful being next to the Shredder with no shields. That will eventually do some pretty good damage to you. And he is using the Gaze of Fate and a Tier 3 army ability to nuke down the Legion of Chakwa, and he's even going to hit some of these Skinks. And in a recent replay Lenorm sent me, also Mazdamundi takes a lot of damage from this kind of thing when he gets hit by it. So we'll have to be careful about that, but huge army ability, absolutely destroys the infantry support of the Lizards and is getting decent damage onto their single entities as Kairos gets into the sky while in melee combat with the Shredder. That looked a little weird, but sure, whatever. Cool. Nice job from Kairos. Now, the army abilities still do not apply to the damage value, so that massive shot onto all those infantry didn't actually get any damage value for Tzeentch, so just trust me when I say it was important. But Mazdamundi gave an apotheosis to the Bastildon. The Bastildon gave healing to Mazdamundi, and all of the dinos are getting healed back up. Nice biceps, thanks. Let's take a moment to appreciate the beauty of full head on land battles. I don't know if this is the one you want to hold up as the pinnacle, because it does feature a heal blob of single entities, which is really annoying. I already have my Star Wars break, but I'm definitely still not as into it as I once was. Damn. Alright, anyway, back to it. Kairos and his knights are continuing to charge the Bastildon and Mazdamundi. A little blue fire. Did some poke, but yeah. The Gentle Rat's Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch is not having the best time versus the Shredder, though he is actually going to get bailed out. Ooh, Mazdamundi throws down another Ruination of Cities in the middle of this blob. Oh, that was brutal. Takes out a lot of cav. Does a lot of damage to everything else. A quick Gaze of Fate onto the Shredder of Lustria, but a follow-up Banishment is probably going to spell the end of this game, as it just rips through these knights and the halberds. The halberds are already gone. And Mazda and his Rev Crystal can just keep healing each other. It's not really a problem. They haven't spent a ton of Winds Magic anywhere else, so there's probably another Apotheosis off cooldown soon. Another Rev Crystal onto Mazda. Just bought more DLC on the Steam sale. Good. Good. God, I hope healing gets nerfed someday. I don't know why CA has such a boner for healing, but Game 3 has been the healing meta as long as it's existed. And they've nerfed everything besides healing. They nerfed Vampire Count's healing, though, so that's like one ray of hope, is maybe next patch they'll do something about other factions. So they nerfed the Vampire Count's healing, and then Vampire Counts went from being an S tier faction to being like decidedly mid tier, maybe B. I would argue C, but a lot of people would disagree with me. And now like every other healing faction is a giant fucking problem, and I'm like, maybe? What up, unused username? Big Overcast final transmutation from the Shaman, the Chaos Sorcerer, as the Shredder of Lustria does take him out. Another big charge attempt from Kairos and the Bros. Leadership's getting a little low on the Bastildon, but there goes the shieldy old ones, giving him damage resistance and leadership to deal with all of his worries. And I thought I saw the thing of a Bolt of Change of Tzeentch coming out here. Mazdamundi takes a lot of damage. He gets another Rev Crystal. His healing cap is all the way at the top of his health bar, so he has tons of healing left to go, and he can even give himself some apotheoses as he does it. Bolt of Change hits him in the top of the head. Kairos Fateweaver and his Brave Knights continue to fight on, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Because, like, after all this, even if you take out both the sources of the healing, you have a full health Shredder of Lustria to deal with. And that is a lot to deal with. Both the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch are continuing to fight. Both of them are about to Terror Route at a moment's notice. I bet this one's going to go after the next Dreadsaurian attack, and then his friend will route because of nearby routing friends. Let's see if I am right. There's the Terror Route. There he goes. There's the Terror Route. The next one goes. I'm not a genius. I'm just a man. I'm just a normal man like any of you, just much smarter, brilliant genius that I am. But I'm just like you. If you were perfect, which I am, in every single way. Another apotheosis for Mazdamundi, as a regrowth tries to heal up the Tzeentch Knights, but they are not anti-large, they are not armor-piercing, so they really aren't going to truck through these Lizardmen as much as you would like. Bounce Power is sharing my sentiment. I do think this is all over but the crying for Tzeentch. Thankfully, they can't Terror Route, because they just did, but they can naturally route, and when they do that, army loss is going to hit, and even Kairos can't stop that, as another heal comes in. This one for the Shredder. GG. Healing might, in fact, be the big dumb. All right. For Kairos, 800 value, despite all of his cycle charging. He is very tanky. He does not do a lot of damage in melee. 1,700 for the Final Transmutation caster. Chaos Knights did fine. Halberds got absolutely wrecked. Blue Horrors mixed. Marauders mixed, but overall fine. Maz the Mundi 2,800 value is very nice. 4,100 for the Shredder of Austria is very, very good. Then I don't expect anything else is going to get it even any of its value. No. Nope. Not at all. It was just the big Healy dinos. GG. Finals time, which means I'll pull up the thing that actually has the scorecard. Cool Umbrella versus Blood Penguin. I'll change the names when I actually know who's on what side. Needs more Blue Fire. Blue Fire does not do that much versus Lizards. Their health pools are too high, they have too much healing, and their armor is really high. All those things make it a bit of a problem for the Blue Fire spam. I do think Final Trans was the way to go. Spell-wise, it's just... They didn't have... The Tzeentch Spiel just didn't have the right tools to deal with a blob that intense. Not that there is a lot of tools that can deal with it. I honestly don't know what Tzeentch could bring to deal with it. Maybe a Soul Grinder. And then just kite super hard with it. Flamers with Chaos Spawn. Use Chaos Spawn to try and hold back the lizards while you use Flamers on them. But that's like... I'm theory crafting as if you know that exact build is coming. Where if a wider Lizardman build happens and you take what I just suggested, you're going to get boned. So it's pretty brutal. I think he played it well. There was just too much healing. All right, where do these chuckleheads have a lobby? Plague of Rust and Horsemen. Maybe, though I don't think Marauder Horsemen, after all the nerfs, have the DPS to deal with ultra-sized health bars and ultra-sized healing. Because healing went percentage-based, and then health bars got increased due to ultra-size, which just really fucked with the Skirmish Cav's, like, ability to kill stuff. Which is fine. I was not a fan of the Skirmish Cav meta, so overall I'm positive on that. I just think most of the healing in the entire game is overtuned, and all of it needs, like, a rethink. I think you could cut all healing in the game by half, and it would still be the meta. It just wouldn't be as oppressive. Like, that's how aggressively I think healing is the meta right now, is I think you could cut it in half, and it would legitimately still be fine. Contrary to Papa opinion, I think lizards are quite strong in a lot of factions. Oh yeah, lizards are top tier, for sure. It goes Bretonnia, Ogres, and then from there it goes probably like lizards. Lizards, greenskins are both pretty good. Skaven are still pretty good. Dark Elves are still pretty good. High Elves are fine, but I wouldn't consider them top tier. Like, they're up there, but they're not, like, OP must ban. What up, McRightface? Damn, I was thinking more like 20%. Nah, Cool Umbrella. I think you could cut it in half and it would still be fine. Healing's redonkulous. The fact that if you take a life caster you can just heal cap four units in your army. That's fucking wild. It's way too much. Anyway, for newer multiplayer folks, is there a general strategy that can help non or weak shooting factions against heal blobs? AoE punishment spells such as Final Transmutation. Those are pretty good against blobs in general. You do just want good AoE punishment or single entity punishment, one or the other. So you can go Spirit Leech if you don't have access to Final Trans, don't have access to like Heart of Winter, Flensing Ruin, Traitorkin, Final Transmutation. Then you could just go Spirit Leech and spam it. You'll want armor-piercing infantry, whatever ranged you can muster, and maybe some single-entity monsters of your own. And then you do want to, if it's a raw blob, what you have to remember when you're attacking is, one, throw as little at the same time as possible, because the blob wants you to put everybody on it, and then they'll punish you with like spells or a Mortis Engine AoE damage type effect, or something like that. So you got to feed in people one by one. And remember what I mentioned when I said healing, that when stuff's healing anyway, focus down one thing. So if you're casting Spirit Leeches, probably cast it at the source of the healing. Like, let's say it's a Festus blob. Spirit Leech Festus. Spirit Leech him till he is dead. Then switch targets. Don't spread out your Spirit Leeches, because everything's just going to keep healing. Right? Same with your monster attacks. So again, if it is Festus, Spirit Leech, charge in with your big monster, then walk out, charge in with your big monster, but always be aiming for Festus. Always aim for the same target and take it out. Usually, again, the source of the healing or the source of whatever AoE damage they are opting to use. Something like that. Does that sound super fun? Probably not. Are healing blobs fun to deal with? No. I'm generally not a fan of that playstyle. I find it boring and annoying. So, of course, I'm going to be negative on it. But yeah, the way you beat it, in my opinion, is being equally boring. If you do have strong shooting, that's the way better way to deal with it. But the point of that question is, if you don't have shooting, what do you do? And that's kind of like asking, how do I defeat rock with scissors? And it's like, okay, but that's not... It's difficult to beat a blob with exactly what it wants to fight. Like, blobs are weak to artillery and shooting, so usually shoot them. If you can't shoot them, you're already at a disadvantage. It's not even a matter of half percentage to go back to value-based. Yeah, I would also support that. I don't think they're going to. They put way too much effort into changing the system entirely that I don't think that they would ever back down from that. But if they did go back to just normal value-based healing, then that would be preferable. But I just don't think they will. Could Tzeentch beat that Dino heal build using some pink horrors or the armor reducing with the armor reducing spell? Yeah, Plague of Rust would probably be a good shout out there with some pink horrors. Pink horrors don't have their own natural armor piercing, so you would need the Plague of Rust. Flamers could also be pretty good, but again, only if you knew that's exactly what you're going to face, then Flamers would get a lot of value shooting the Dreadsaurian. Dwarfs need some love. Depends. They need Thoric to get nerfed. They need Gotrek and Felix to get nerfed. They need Gyrocopters to get nerfed. They need Miners of Blasting Charges to get nerfed. But then anything I didn't mention needs some severe buffs. Because that roster is extremely carried by some bullshit right now. Where it's just like, can you deal with single entity infantry heal blob? If yes, you beat dwarves. If no, you lose to dwarves. And it's like, oh, fun interactive gameplay. Dwarves are decidedly mid-tier right now in multiplayer, but they are high on my ban list just because I don't usually find them fun to interact with, which is a problem. I call it the Tracer problem, but it's a big problem in Overwatch and League of Legends and like MOBAs in general, where it feels like the designer of a game designed a character to be fun for the person playing it, and forget about the other 9 people in the game. And I do think that it is valuable when you're designing something to consider who is fighting against it, not just who's fighting it, because it exists in an ecosystem. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. Even for, like, before you pull out the single player argument, yes, but in single player sometimes you still have to fight dwarves, and I would still argue that dwarves are not fun to fight against. Like, they're stupid. So in multiplayer, they're just not very fun to interact with, and in campaign, they're not very fun to interact with, and therefore I would think that they kind of fit into the tracer problem, where it was like you were focusing too much on what the dwarven player is going to experience and not what everyone else can experience dealing with the dwarven player. And yeah, why it's called the tracer problem is like Tracer doesn't feel like she was designed to be in Overwatch. Like, the other 9 players don't enjoy it, because if you have a Tracer on your team, unless you're at the pro level, your Tracer's going to do 0 damage and do nothing, but she's not going to die. So your opponent's pissed off because you can't kill Tracer. She's just zipping around, and then if she ever gets in danger, she just goes back to a point like 5 seconds ago where she was safe, and she's fine. But if you're on Tracer's team, she's also not dealing a lot of damage, so you're probably losing the points, you're probably not getting a lot of kills, you're probably losing the game. So one team's frustrated at this mosquito swatting at them, the other team's frustrated because they're fucking losing. 9 players are pissed off, and the Tracer player is like, well, I thought that game was pretty good, and my team sucks, so bad game. And it's like, no, you're a damage character and you don't have a medal for damage, so fuck you. You're an idiot. Too much healing has really hurt the game? Yeah. Soul Stealer is a good blob punishment spell, Knighthood, for sure. But I didn't mention Dark Elves because Dark Elves, again, the premise of the question was, how do you deal with a blob if you don't have shooting? And Dark Elves have excellent shooting, so, like, yeah, if you're playing Dark Elves, just get some Dark Shards, some Dark Shard repeater crossbows, cavalry, and you'll be fine. But yes, if you were determined to melee them, then Soul Stealer and a Dragon Lord would be really, really good versus a blob. New, what makes them unfun to interact with? Are you talking about dwarves? Dwarves' current playstyle, they have miners with blasting charges, which are an exceedingly cheap unit that can nuke most infantry that walks at them. And then after that, they're just a high armored blocker. And then they have a very high armor healing single entity blob that they rely on to win a lot of games, and gyrocopters that are surprisingly fast, hard to hit, hard to punish kite things. So it's like, do you want to deal with the crazy flying kite, or do you want to deal with the hero blob that most entities can't hit because foot characters aren't correctly coded in this game? Your choice. None of them are good choices. So that's what makes them unfun for most people. All right. But we have a game. Ogre Kingdoms versus Empire. We have triple Huntsmen, 2 Halberdiers, 5 Spearmen, and 3 Empire Knights, 1 Demigryph Knight with Halberds, a Jade Wizard with Regrowth and Earthblood, and Karl Franz, Prince and Emperor. The other side for the Ogre Kingdoms, 5 Gnoblar Trappers, 2 regular Gnoblars, a crap ton of Ogre Bulls, Iron Guts, Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, more Ogre Bulls, more Iron Guts, and I even saw a Man-Eater with great weapons and a Slaughtermaster with a Great Maw who only brought Troll Guts. What up, Knighthood? Have a good smoke. Alright, Franz dives in, and with his Spearmen and some Huntsman support, they've already terror-outed off a bunch of the Gnoblars. The Huntsmen continue to fire. I am personally a Demigryph Knight with Halberd hater. I actually do like Demigryph Knights. I have come around on them, but for some reason the Halberd variant just feel like very lackluster. It's the basic Demigryphs that are okay. Now I get why the Halberds are here. You're fighting ogres, right? It's going to be a bunch of large targets. I get that, but I am scared that they're going to fail Blood Penguin as they failed me. So far, the Empire is holding okay. The front line is starting to falter a little bit, and Franz and the Cavalry are getting pulled up to be used as shields, but Ogres are going to now deal with the Demigryph Knights with Halberds, who are charging into some Iron Guts. They'll get decent damage there, but I think you're about to see what I meant by lackluster, as they are swarming these Iron Guts and getting nothing for it. I think they're maybe attacking the Ogre Bulls, but the Iron Guts are in there too. We'll see how that goes for the poor Demigryphs. So far, all 3 Huntsmen are still online and firing. More Empire Knights being pulled forward as Man-Eaters are just sprinting towards these Huntsmen with nothing to really stop them from doing so. Ogre Bulls get right through the infantry and back onto the Huntsmen, so now 2 of our Huntsmen are not firing. 1 is under attack, the other is running away. Empire Knights and Halberds trying to hold this front line for a bit, but it's not going great for them. The Demigryph Knights with Halberds with the Reichland Runefang are holding for now, And they have finally started to make a good dent onto those Iron Guts, getting through here as more Empire Knights run over to stop these Noblars from advancing. But largely, the Ogres have just ignored the front line of the Empire and got into that sweet, sweet back line. Empire's ahead for now, though this was the good part of the game for them. The bad part is about to start. It's a little bit of what I talked about with Skaven and Grand Cathay, this type of Empire build versus Ogres who just want to bum rush you super hard. You're going to get ahead in the early game as the Ogres sprint into your spear line and your Huntsmen get to shoot, but it's after that you need to hope you're enough ahead to stay ahead. As things start to fall apart, as you get into more of a melee, Man-Eaters with great weapons get into a fight with the Democrats with Halberds and Franz. This could be a big play for the Empire. If they can take out that really elite unit, that'll leave the Ogres in an awkward position because their only spell they brought was a healing spell. And if you don't have anything really good to single target heal, it could get kind of risky. One of the Huntsmen is still online. The other two are doomed and now even starting to rout. Empire Knights cannot save them. They're decent blockers, but they don't do a lot of DPS versus the Ogres. Man-Eater's still in the fight, and Democrats Knights with Halberds now taking a lot of damage. They'll need a regrowth soon. It looks like a regrowth is coming, though I imagine that means a Troll Guts is also coming for the other side. The Ogres have caught up on the damage value. They're going to overtake the Empire very quickly here. Still, the Empire is in mass exodus, and the more people the Ogre Kingdoms chase down, the more army abilities they're going to get. I'm really surprised these Man-Eaters haven't gotten any healing. I think the Slaughtermaster's just distracted. Big rout for the Empire, getting a lot of Ogre Kingdoms units out of here. And that could be the end of the Man-Eaters now that they're surrounded by two different cavalry units, one of which is extremely armor-piercing, and still their healing is not even coming over to save them. I don't know if it's going to matter, though. It's just feeling really doomed. There's a lot of Ogre Bulls left running around, and Iron Guts. Yep, the Man-Eaters are routed, so now even if they're healed, I mean, they could still be run down by Cav, though, ooh. Fortunately for the Ogres, they retreat into their forces, and they still have 5 models. The Empire can't run him down. Huntsman will rally in the distance, and Franz picks off another Ogre Bull's dual weapons. Bounce power is still roughly even, maybe even Empire favored for now, though I extremely doubt that. Well, Franz is healthy. I mean, Franz kicks a ton of ass. It's just Ogres specialize in surrounding and killing a single entity, so I do just worry about his long-term viability. So let's take a critical stock of what's actually left. 2 very healthy Iron Guts. 3 very healthy Iron Guts. Almost dead Man-Eater that is getting healed, but still. Some meh Ogre Bulls. A good amount of Noblars left. And a full health caster, of course. Democrats with Halberds diving back onto these Iron Guts. Franz probably has the Reikland Runefang back up because I haven't seen him use it in a little bit. Noblard Trappers are going to get routed, and with that, more Empire Knights can come in. Even more Empire Knights running around the middle. Ogre Bulls getting a good surround onto those guys, but there's just a critical mass of Empire cavalry around here as they all just pile into a big, monstrous and cavalry brawl. Earthblood is going to hit all of these units, try and keep them up. Stand Your Ground and Reikland Runefang active to give these guys some insane leadership stats and keep them in the fight. 51-36 even on basic Empire Knights. They're doing it, baby! They're doing it! Terror routing off the Iron Guts, even though their leadership is plenty high, so they will just come back. The Man-Eaters' great weapons are almost out of here. The Ogres are just strong enough to win the bump and grind, though, and that is a big problem for the Empires. They have some sneaky Huntsmen coming back in who are stalked, so the Ogres don't know that these ones are there. They know those ones are there. They're going to kill those ones. Franz and his lads trying to just win this big central fight. Demigryphs are almost heal capped, though. They're running out of stamina to really stay in it. Mass rout from the Ogres is starting to hit. We have a Terror rout and 3-ish natural routes. There's still 2 healthy Iron Guts still in the fight, and Franz is attempting to carry this, but the Ogre is pulling ahead on the bounce power once more. Huntsman coming back into range. Maybe if they can get some rear shots off, they can save this. It's honestly so close. Much closer than I would have thought at the start of the game, but, like, I just don't know if these guys can hold on. Another Troll Guts is hitting these Iron Guts. Troll Guts hitting the Iron Guts. That's a mouthful and a half to say. Franz gets some more Terror Routs. Iron Guts almost Terror Routing, but that healing is going to get them through with the Demigryph Knights with Halberds. That will soon leave Franz all alone. Huntsman about to be run down by these Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. They do not have long left to live. And Franz, while he is full health and a big force in the balance of power, I think you will find that when he is surrounded by Ogres, he will get taken down rather quickly. And Franz really is all that is left, as the Demigryph Knights are heel capped and still routing, getting rear charged by some ogres. Huntsman getting pushed off. And that's probably it. Nalbar Trappers firing in onto Franz, getting some decent damage there. One Ogre Bull is getting pushed off as Man-Eaters and Iron Guts rejoin the fight. Their heel caps well within sight. And I think if that Man-Eater route's going to shatter, yeah, because it's just routed too many times. Franz's heel cap is also within sight. But man, there's so many Ogres left. Look at this. Look at all this. Some Empire Knights have rallied on the high ground. They do need to get away from those Iron Guts, and it looks like they will. But another almost heel-capped, full health Iron Guts is too much of a problem to deal with. Jade Wizard's almost routing. Not that his presence will help Franz that much. One Earthblood will heel-cap Franz at this point. And that's looking like GG. Looking like GG. Franz has the Reikland Runefang, giving him insane melee attack, which is neat, but melee attack isn't the problem here. You're going to hit anything you swing at this point. It's just what you're swinging at. He could try and snipe out the Slaughtermaster. That might be his last shot in this game, and it looks like that is what he's going to do. If he kills him, their leadership will lower significantly. I don't think it'll really stop their healing that much, because at this point I feel like the Ogres have used all the healing they're going to use. Like, that's been a lot of Troll Guts. I don't think he has that much Winds of Magic left in him. But you would want to snipe him out just for the leadership debuff, and he is going to get him to Terror out. Close. Franz fucks off for a little bit. Life Wizard is after the Slaughtermaster. Empire Knights are back in here to provide a distraction for a little bit, but it's not really enough. Slaughtermaster gets away. One last Earthblood for Franz and the others. Dismember is going to slow him down. He's now surrounded in Noblars. But the big problem is these two Iron Guts. Like, they're so healthy from all the healing. The fact they've... Okay, you're looking at 3 units that have almost heal capped, and there was the Man-Eater Great Weapons that got a healing earlier, and they're not even here. So when I talk about healing being a fucking problem, healing's a fucking problem. And I know Franz is also heal capped, so I'm not saying it's just one side. It's like both sides are heal capping everything. Demigryph Knights were heal capped, Franz is heal capped, all these fucking ogres are heal capped. Healing's a problem, man. There's too much. There's just too much healing. It's stupid. It is just stupid. And I know healing has had some positive side effects. It allows us to play with elite infantry and elite cavalry. Without it, those things wouldn't be viable. I understand that, but it's still just annoying. Like, I just get tired of talking about heal caps every single fucking game. Franz is getting ground down. There's not too much you can do now. If he has a stand your ground off cooldown, that'll help him withstand the tide for a little bit, but it's just not going to be enough. Jade Wizard gets out of the blob, charges back in for a second, but Franz is pretty much dead. And with him go the hopes of the Empire. GG. Too much healing, man. Too much. Am I winning? Of course you are, Jeremy. Of course you are. 69 value, very nice on the Slaughtermaster. 1600 for Man-Eater's Great Weapons. Iron Guts did really, really well. Ogre Bulls with dual weapons did fine. Basic Ogre Bulls did okay. Noblars did very well. Noblar Trappers, that is, and Noblars themselves did fine. The other side, Franz did good. Dankers the Halberds did good. Empire Knights did okay. Spearmen got largely wrecked. Halberdiers did okay. And Huntsmen did okay. GG. Why don't Jade Wizards bring Awakening just to punish blobs? Are you talking about Awakening of the Woods? Or Dwellers Below? Awakening of the Woods does like 0 damage. Dwellers Below does a bit more, but not a lot versus Monstrous Infantry. It doesn't do as much damage versus monstrous things. It would do a bit, but not a ton. In general, monstrous infantry are busted right now. Is that true? I don't know. I feel like Kroxigors are fine, but not busted. Kadai Fireborn are fine, but not busted. Ushabti are fine, but not busted. I'm trying to think. Because I feel like monstrous infantry were a meme for so long that now actually seeing them is nice. Ogre Bulls are too strong, sure. Most of the Ogre units are too strong. But again, that might just be healing. Because that was a close game. And he heal capped 4 of his basic infantry units. So, like, if you couldn't heal cap 4 basic infantry units, how crazy would monstrous infantry be? Minotaurs are really strong, but I think most of the factions Minotaurs are tied to are weak without them. So again, I don't have that much of a problem with them being strong. I don't know. I guess I would disagree. I think monstrous infantry are good right now, but it depends largely on what specific monstrous infantry you're talking about. Because I think overall, a nerf to monstrous infantry would be bad for the health of the game. So in that case, I would disagree that they're overall too strong. Oh, Awakening to the Wood? Yeah, Awakening to the Wood just does like 0 damage. I'm not a fan of that spell. I largely consider it to be a waste of mana. Some players like it, but I tend not to. I'm trying to think besides ogres what monstrous infantry are busted. Again, I think Minotaurs, but that's a whole thing. Because if Minotaurs got nerfed again, Minotaurs are all that brought Khorne out of the gutter. And Beastmen from being mid-tier to being good. Not even OP, which is good, is the threat of Minos. So I'll acknowledge they're probably too strong. The rosters they're attached to really need them, so I'm not that upset about it. Chaos Spawn have sucked for a while. They were like, before Immortal Empires, and even a little bit after, they were the shit. And they were mega OP and in every fucking game, but they took some pretty bad cost nerfs. As a potential solution to the healing problem, how would you feel about reducing HP pools across the board, especially for SE, but in turn giving higher armor and/or missile resist to SE and elites? That could be okay, well, that'd be fine. It would make games faster, so it depends on how you feel about that. I'm fine with games being faster, but not everybody is. Zotes need a buff? Yeah, Zotes probably do need a buff. I do... This is an unpopular opinion, but it is my opinion, and I acknowledge it's unpopular. But I would be for a scaling spell resist based on your unit's cost, like just across the board. So if you had a unit that costs like 1,600 gold, it would have like 15% spell resistance, while a unit that's like 100 gold has 0. Because like Khorne units have more spell resist than that, and even they are still fucking destroyed by spells, so it's not like 15% spell resist is going to break anything, but it would be nice for elite units to be a little more viable. And this is, again, in the scenario where healing is nerfed, right? Not just saying, like, yeah, healing elite units right now just need a ton of help. It's like, nah, elite units are kind of raffle stomping everybody if they have heal support. But that is a big thing, heal support. You saw in my Wood Elf game, my Wild Hunters of Kurnos, my ROR Wild Riders, they just got 1 Fate of Unit and they're fucking dead. It's like, okay, cool. It makes it almost not worth it to bring a Regiment of Renown, because you're just putting a big laser target for Fate of Unit to one-shot it. Reducing HP on lower HP SE would bring us back to Lord Snipe. Depends. If they're Foot Lords, then they'll still never die because they get knocked over. by problems we've covered multiple times in this channel, so I won't go into that rant. If they're large entities, maybe. But most large entities have enough healing to just get through it anyway. But the fact that elite units have fewer entities. Unused username, like, I'm thinking of, like, Phoenix Guard and Swordmasters. Like, they still get wrecked by, like, burning heads and shit. This also might be unpopular, but it's just, like, an opinion I have, and I acknowledge that it might not be fully thought out. But I also wish it was more stark, the contrast between armor and not armored. Like, Burning Head has 0 armor-piercing damage. So I think if it goes across a unit of, like, Phoenix Guard, or Blackguard, or Black Orcs, I think Burning Head should do, like, almost literally 0 damage. And I think if it goes across, like, butt naked troops, it should do a lot of damage. And I feel like armor-piercing spells going across a unit that has a ton of armor should, like, destroy them. I don't know. I'm much more for spells fitting a purpose and using them to that purpose than having spells that just kind of are always good, like Burning Head. Where it's like, if you cast Burning Head on a blob of heavily armored cavalry, you'll still get a decent amount of damage out. And that to me just feels wrong, because it's like, this is meant to target infantry and low armor. How is it still doing okay against exactly what it's not supposed to be targeting? Which might just be me. But I like things like Flensing Ruin. Flensing Ruin's too strong. I'm not saying it shouldn't be nerfed, but I like the identity of the spell in that it's really good versus single entities. Too good. It should be nerfed. Again, don't get me wrong. But if you cast it on anything else, it's pretty fucking bad. I think that's what Spirit Leech should be, but it isn't. Spirit Leech should be, if you target a single entity with it, it does damage. And if you target anything else with it, you're wasting your fucking time. And for some reason, Spirit Leech is just generally fine to cast on anything, which is dumb. But, like, I like when spells have a purpose. Like Fate of Buna, as much as I have problems with it right now, it does have a purpose. If you cast it on a single entity, it's a waste of your time. But if you cast it on a multi-entity model, it's good. Like, that's fine. I would tweak its numbers a bit, but that's fine. But I think things like Spirit Leech, Burning Head, honestly Fireball to a degree, Blue Fire of Tzeentch to a degree, it's just like, you cast them on anything and it's a good idea. And that, to me, is bad spell design. Almost gets some armor. Yeah, they get some armor, but most spells, like direct damage spells, ignore armor entirely. Like Spirit Leech ignores armor entirely. It's not an armor-piercing spell, it just, like, doesn't factor in armor, it's direct damage. And Burning Head is 0% armor-piercing, but it still does decent damage against armored targets. Not great damage, but decent. Derek Sudbury? That's a fair criticism. Yeah. I hope at least, like, the intent of what I'm talking about is getting through, even if my details aren't fully there. But you know what I mean, where it's like, I think Spirit Leech is a bad design spell, while I think, like, Flensing Ruin and Final Transmutation and Fate of Buna are well designed. In that, like, Spirit Leech, you can cast it on literally anything, and it's a good idea, and I think that's stupid. Like, I think at least I think all spells should at least have some thing you should not do with them. Like, to be fair to Burning Head, you shouldn't cast it on a single entity. Okay, yeah, you win that one. It does literally 0 damage to a single entity. But, like, Spirit Leech, you're fine casting Spirit Leech on literally anything, and to me, that's stupid. Yeah, well. The other problem is some factions like Kislev. Kislev needs an overall rework on their magic. The Lore of Tempest and Lore Vice are both just horribly bad. And I don't know. They need another look. Their faction in general also needs some serious looks. I promise I'll talk about the actual game in front of us in a second, but like, Kislev in general was a good idea that didn't work, and somebody on CA needs to just take the L and redo it. Because, like, having a whole roster of hybrid stuff sounds super cool on paper, but in practice, it just means you have a whole roster that's not really that good at either. Like, okay, we can't outshoot you if we go full shooty, because your shooters are better than ours, but if we go full melee, your melee's better than ours. I don't know. Everything's expensive because it's generalist, so it has to pay for its flexibility, but the flexibility isn't going to be useful at every... I don't know. It's just like, oh god. And Kislev's not terrible, but they're just not good. Like, it was good intentions that just didn't really pan out. So Kislev needs to either be, like, so ridiculously broken that being hybrid doesn't matter, or they need to rethink this hybrid thing. Or they need to make hybrid optional. Like, have a toggle. If you have armored Kossars, and then you can toggle it to give them pistols for, like, 100 more gold. But some people just want to save some money and get a fucking frontline when you don't want the pistols. Because if you know you're not going to be able to use them, like you're fighting Norska and they're just going to blitz up to you and you know you're never going to get those pistol shots off, you don't want to pay for them. Anyway, talking about the actual game we're in. Vampire Coast from Cool Umbrella, and he has a lot of bats. Haven't seen this since, like, Warhammer 2. 2 bomber bats, 2 handgun bats, and then a box of chaff, a whole bunch of zombies, just a whole bunch. And then we have some pistol mobs, 3 rotting Promethean crab mobs with shotguns on their backs, and 2 animated hulks with a vampire polearm captain with a summon and invocation to heck in the back. For Norska and Blood Penguin, we do have 3 Marauder Horsemasters, some Skin Wolves, some Ice Wolves, some Marauders, more Skin Wolves, more Ice Wolves, more Marauders. And then we do have some of those Jav Throwers to help deal with crabs and bats and all that stuff. We have a Firecast with Burning Head and Wolfric the Wanderer way in the back, though. It looks like Blood Penguin's forgetting them, because they definitely should be up here. There's no reason to keep them that far back, so that is definitely a mistake. And one of his Jav Throwers is being left behind, so I think we're seeing some rare mistakes out of Blood Penguin. Charge is going okay for Norska. They really want to get in melee. They want to avoid the bombers as much as possible. And these skirmish cav plus the Jav Throwers are making these bats really pay the price for trying to participate in this game. Meanwhile, the bombers and these javelins are just having a duel in the corner. It looks like the bomber bats are going to win it for now. A zombie summon chases off the other guys, and yeah, these javelins and the caster and Wolfric are joining the fight now. If Norska ends up losing, I'm sure Penguin will be kicking himself for that, but so far, it honestly looks to be going pretty well for Norska. I think Penguin's largely happy with how this early game's going. The stuff that's going to rout is Skin Wolves. I mean, they'll rout, they'll come back stronger and in greater numbers. He is getting through the front line okay. He's done a lot of damage to these bats. Some of them are even crumbling now, so yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's too worried about it just yet. Like, it's rough, but maybe I'm being too optimistic, but this feels fine for Norska. Wolfric piles straight in. He's going to go for that crab caster. Yes, he has on his crab, which actually makes him more vulnerable. On foot, he's much more annoying to deal with. Wolfric throws down a Sea Fang through... Oh, okay, it was through multiple zombies. I was wondering why he was aiming at the crabs, but he was aiming at the zombies. So now, without infantry support, these crabs are going to take a lot more damage. Skin Wolves are routed off, which is very nice for them. A Burning Head follow-up going to take out the archers and curve back through these other pistol mobs, scorching them down, and that is a big win for Norska. That Sea Fang and Burning Head clearing out a lot of stuff. These javelins are going to finish off some more of the bomber bats, and all of a sudden the Vampire Coast front line's looking a little thin. Wolfric, though, surrounded by crabs. He wants to get out of here. The crabs are the main gooning tool of the Vampire Coast. They're really good at taking out single entities. You do have to avoid fighting within them at all costs, but it looks like Wolfric's just fucking going for it, and he needs to reconsider this. Things are going pretty well for Norska across the board, actually, but they can't get too overeager. Skin Wolves, Ice Wolves falling back, but some of these things that are here are summoned. Skin Wolves going to destroy these animated hulks if they don't rout, but they should be regenerating. They should eat the hulks alive, and then these Jav Throwers can come back. As far as the bats go, 2 of them are doomed, so it looks like we will just have this one handgun bat that will remain alive. They are shooting at some Marauder Horsemasters as those guys flee. But the Lamprey's Revenge taking a lot of damage, and these skirmish tools are making them pay a pretty heavy price. So we get another summon. Looks like it was just a regular one. Now, where did Wolfric end up? He ran out through the back, came in through the other side. Like I said, these animated hulks getting chewed up by the Skin Wolves, and that'll allow some of the Norskins to rally. Now, the Norskins do need to rally in the distance. Balance power is not looking too good for them, though I do think time is on their side. And by that, I mean the longer this goes, the better it is for Norska. More regeneration, more summons wearing off. So this guy's already used... He's already used 5 of his summons. Jesus Christ. Wolfrick's going in for another fight. I wonder if he has Hunter of Champions up or not. Looks like not if he's opting out of that battle. Lamprey's Revenge taking some damage. More jab throwers turning in onto them. Really wanted to get those guys crumbling down. Crumbling did get some damage increases in the last couple patches, so it does actually feel effective now. And these Ice Wolves should be able to finish off both the pistol mobs, honestly. They're both low enough that the Ice Wolves can tear them apart. Surprised these handgun bats are hanging around, but their shots are proving impactful. Lamprey's Revenge almost dead, and that makes Wolfric feel safer by the minute. Now they do kill off a Skin Wolf. That should rally if it has enough time to run and regen. More crabs, more animated hulks advancing. Does Norska have the teeth left to actually deal with it? That is a summon. That full health zombie is not real. Since we last checked in on our summoner friend, he does still have 2 casts, so he hasn't cast any more Healy Heals yet. The Ice Wolves were peeled off, looks like by the Crabos, that's Stabbo, but they left a crumbling pistol mobs in their wake. Second to last summon is out, meaning there's only 1 more left in the tank as the jab throwers are going to run away. Wolfric runs in, but he's going to get intercepted by Animated Hulk, so he's definitely not going to be able to hit his objective. And the handgun bats took a volley from something. They are now fading away. More and more stuff for the coast is fading. Can Norska hang in there? Animated Hulk's getting shot at, getting whittled down. And I am concerned for the Vampire Coast. But Norska's leadership has been the bane of many a Norskan player. And looks like those Skin Wolves from earlier did actually run all the way off the map. They did not rally, surprisingly. You still have 1 summon left, correct? Yep, 1. Some of the Norskan units have routed too many times. They are starting to shatter. Wolfric continues to do battle along with his Firecaster, though I haven't seen a lot of burning heads out of this guy, so I imagine there's a juicy one waiting for this full health Halberd unit. Wolfric does get in a brief fight with the Halberd guy. Oh, he's not on a crab. Okay, that makes him a bit more of a bitch for Wolfric to deal with. Alright, they're all clustered up. Does he have the burning head? No, it's a Sea Fang, and it just deletes them! Ow! God damn! Alright, Ice Wolves post Wolfric. Can Wolfric keep them in the fight? He doesn't have fight or die this time. Didn't have it for those doggos, but it would have been nice if some Marauder Horsemasters offer him aid. Hunter of Champions is in onto the Polearms caster, but he's still going to get a good shot onto Wolfric. Wolfric needs to get out of here, but he surrounded himself in crabs, so I don't know if he's going to be able to move as freely as he wants to. Where is this guy's Winds of Magic? I have not seen a lot of burning heads or cascading fire cloaks or anything out of him. It looks like there's a burning head. And it will finish off those zombies, but yeah. Alright, Norska's continuing to kite around. What do they have for melee forces? Not a lot. They just have some wounded-ass skirmish cav. Looks like most of their Skin Wolves are dead, so no healing for them. That's brutal. Marauder Horsemasters diving into the Polearms. Those Polearms are probably going to have to be killed by a Burning Head, if anything. It is looking rough here for Norska. I'm more worried about these crabs than I am about the Polearms mobs, because like 2 burning heads, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of burning heads yet, which means there's probably still plenty. And 2 burning heads, 2 dead zombie deckhand polearm crews. But Wolfric's gotta kill all these crabs and the caster, and the caster's healing up the crabs right now. So I think Wolfric's probably just gotta like, he gets Cascading Fire Cloak? Really? Okay. I think he's probably just gotta attempt to snipe out this Polearms guy. Otherwise he's doomed. Here comes another burning head. Umbrella is going to dodge most of it with his deckhand mobs, but this other one is going to actually run into it, taking a bunch of damage. Big damage, and Wolfric is getting currently pile-drived by this Polearms guy, and without him, if he routes, Norska is going to just lose. There's a quick Sea Fang, does a little bit more poke damage onto these guys as Wolfric continues charging the other direction just for a little bit of leadership, but still the balance of power is so against them, and he's getting shot in the butt by these shotgun crabs for every second he delays. But the Polearm caster is going to catch up to him. They are going to get a shot on his buns, and that might just finish him off. Shaman, Sorcerer of Fire, taking some damage. I think that is it. I think that is GG. Empire High Elves and Dark Elves all get access to tons of lore. The Kids of Ogres get like 2 each. Yeah. All right, that'll be a 2-0 for Umbrella. The Gun Crabs did great. Gun Bats mixed. Animated Hulks, okay. Zombie Chaff, okay. Yeah. No side, Wolfric did all right. Burning Headcaster did not do as well as I would have thought. Well, I mean, he was forgotten for a while, then brought up a little late. Then he held onto his spells, so just a couple misplays there. Marauder Horsemasters did fine. Skinwolves did okay. Basic Marauders, okay. Marauder Hunters with Jabs did actually really well, and Ice Wolves did okay. GG, well played. GG, well played. All right, I am done for the night. A nice brisk 2-hour stream. Hopefully you all enjoyed. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the Ultra Funds tournament. This thing. Ultra Funds land battles. We only have 8 people signed up so far. We'll see if we get any more. Otherwise, it'll be another brisk stream. But best of 3s, Ultra Funds. Otherwise, nothing really that different. Should be a good time. Should be a good time. Thanks to Cool Umbrella for hosting this tonight. Congratulations to him on the W. Thanks to everybody who played in here. That's all I have. Not an easy matchup for Norska. Yeah. Why bring wolves when it's undead? To counterfight his other wolves, just in case. To keep your, like, because if there's Scurvy Dogs running after his jab throwers, you wanted something to counter him. Ultra Funds is a very good time. Yeah, feel free to check that out. So my time, it is 9:30 p.m. right now. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. is the thingy, I think. Yeah, 11 a.m. So whatever time for you it is right now, it is in 13 hours is the next stream. So do not worry. We'll be back. Okay, goodbye.